right, guys, so we're going to get started on making a scanogram. The first thing that you want to do is double check that the scanner is actually connected to the computer that you're using, because as it happens, you know that not every single computer has a scanner connected to it. So that's the first thing I'm going to check. I'm going to look in the back, make sure that my cord is plugged in from my computer to the scanner, and they are pairing. So now the next thing is I'm going to turn the scanner on. And you will hear it sort of start up. And then I can go ahead and open my scanner. And, oh look, a creativity training guide. Whose is it? One of my students. Okay. And then I am going to use my transparency. Now the transparency is important because a lot of times you're going to have objects with a variety of surface textures. And for example, if I'm using my geode, you can see how sharp this is. I don't want any damage or any chance of damage to the scanner bed itself. So I'm going to cover it with the transparency. Now these are found in the drawers over there in our pull-out drawers labeled transparency. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my lab guide with me, because that is telling me what my arrangement is going to be. You're not winging it over here. You have to come over here with a plan. What principle are you using? Knowing how you are going to arrange all of your objects. So I chose ahead of time balance. So I know what my layout is going to be, and I'm going to arrange my objects in the layout that I chose. So very carefully, I'm going to lay down all my objects. Now again, remember, the camera is on the bottom of the scanner. So for example, with this, I might be misspeaking, but I think this is amethyst. I'm going to put the purple on the facing down so that the camera really reads that purple. Put my paintbrush here. And I'm already seeing just this crowdedness of the space, because the space is not as big as you think it is. So you might be in a situation where you're picking and choosing objects, or you might be overlapping. Overlapping is a creative solution to a problem of space. My lens. And last but not least, my flower. Now I notice it's a little crowded at the top, but I'm going to just go ahead and scan it and see. And you guys, while you're watching this, just see what you think when you see the solution pop up here. Didn't use any of my Chicago. Oh, yes, I did. One newspaper. Okay, so now I'm going to take my black box top and put it over my objects very carefully, because there's a chance that you're going to move your objects. So just be careful on that. And then you select image capture at the bottom, and you can see if it bounces, it'll start up. And you can see that the device is reading right there in the scanner already. It says it's warming up. And this might take a few seconds, so just be patient.
All right, so I have all my items set out here. I'm going to try to make this all fit radial symmetry. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to fit the mask in the middle. I have an idea where I want to put the mask in the middle. The only problem I'm going to have, and I already have my transparency down just in case, this mask is going to kind of flop around, and I want it to stay put. So I'm going to use something and kind of hold it down. So I'm going to use this guy right here just to weigh down the mask. Hopefully this stays in the middle of my image. Now I'm going to use some of my smaller elements and kind of go around that mask. So I have a lot of these little repeating guitar picks. I think I'm going to use these. I'm going to try to have them all pointing in towards the middle of the mask and see how that goes. They're all different colors and shapes, but that's okay as long as everything kind of points in towards the middle. corner. Okay, should be okay with those. And now for every item that I add on one side, I want to kind of balance it out with another that's sort of similar in style. So for example, this easel is kind of pointy. So the only other kind of pointy thing that I have that's like this is this brush. So I'm going to have them pointing at each other and see if that works for radial symmetry. I'm feeling like it's going to go off the scanner bed, but that's okay, at least for now. Very careful with that. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit anything else. I'm going to try to slide these cards in just to see if they fit underneath the mask a little bit. And again, I'm trying to be symmetrical on opposite ends, so everything's kind of pointing at each other. So now I'm going to take my box and try to put it on top. I can tell this is already kind of tall, and I'm afraid that it's going to move around, so I'm going to try to fold it in first. Try to keep my vision. All right, so now I have no idea what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go to image capture. I see my HP scan jet there. I'm gonna let it warm up. Can't rush greatness. Just remember that. Okay. So now I'm getting an idea of what it's looking like. This is just the preview, and I can already tell, because I was like kind of struggling at the very end to fit everything, and I was kind of holding stuff. One huge mistake I can see already happened is my transparency folded and it bounced back that light kind of funny. So down here at the bottom right, something happened down there to mess up my transparency. So I need to go through and fix that. So I don't want to start with a bad image, because that's not what I want. Everything else seems kind of where I wanted it to be. I think there's a guitar pick up here that's not standing out very well. It's like a brown color, so I'm going to replace that one with a brighter color. Also, the object that I used to hold the mask down is showing a little more than I'd like it to, so I'm going to try to rearrange that one. But overall, the symmetry just needs to be adjusted a little bit, so I'm going to try to just do it one more time and see what happens. So here's the mistake before I even move it. My transparency got jammed underneath where the glass goes into the scanner, and so it curled up. So if it's not flat, you're going to have a weird image like that. So this is not flat, so I'm already going to push it, flatten out my transparency. I'm going to try to keep everything else about the same. And I'm going to push this object on here to hold my mask down so it doesn't show as much. The transparency where I want it, overlapping everything, and then I'm going to replace that guitar pick that I thought was too dull with the brighter red one, so it should stand out a little bit more. Okay, let's try it one more time. I'm very careful. Do another overview scan just to see how it goes before I pull my full scan. And I'm seeing that I fixed some of the problems that I had before. So I'm going to go through and select the actual part that I want. I'm going to cut off the loteria card from the top and kind of just use my transparency part and try to keep my mask as close to the middle as possible. Like that. And then I'll scan my image. Once I see the full image, I'm going to see if I need to change anything else. But so far, I kind of like how the light reflects off the mask. It's kind of a reflective texture. So that's kind of cool. Some of the objects are a little more dull, and that's okay. But I like the way that the guitar picks are standing out, and same thing with the loteria cards. So let's see how our scan looks. Now that I'm seeing the full detail, if I had a chance to go back and do this maybe one more time, we're seeing the texture inside the mask a lot more than I thought, so I think I could probably sneak some items in there just to make that a little bit more colorful so it's not a dull gray. I have this little painting. I'm thinking I might be able to sneak into one of the eyes, And I have some other Loteria cards that I can probably fit in these spaces because they're a little duller than I would want them to. I want them to be a little bit more bright, especially with the theme of like childhood and you know, some of the fun things I did when I was a kid. I want it to be more brighter and more saturated with color. So I would want to fill those in. So if I had a chance, I'd probably go back really quickly and add some extra things in there just to make it a little bit brighter to look at.